Benji, we did it, baby. Oh, I was thinking the other day about it's a speech I mentioned before, the Ben Affleck speech in Boiler Room, act as if. And I was like, you know what? When the Knicks win in this first round series, I'm going to act as if we've been here before. I'm going to act as if winning a first round series is not a big deal. Well, fuck that. Because this absolute bloodbath, war of attrition, just war of war. Cheers. Salute.
Yeah.
This
drink.
This, but any way you cut it, is worthy of praise in so many ways and for so many reasons, and divided up amongst so many people for, I mean, putting aside the series, and we'll reflect on the series a little bit, that they won 4-2 and won 2 games in the opposing team's building. After, by the way, shout out real quick before we get started on the Knicks. What a shout out to the city of Philadelphia. Your derelict, defunct, absentee, poverty fan base couldn't be trusted to show up and root for your team. So you had to go and make sure Knicks fans didn't go out and like do the thing that fans are supposed to do and root on their team. You had to intervene. Guess what, motherfuckers? It didn't work.
Cheers.
Get that out of the way. Apologies for the early profanity. I will try to clean it up. I'm not going to succeed. So, no, I can't act as if tonight. I can't do it because there's too much pride in this team. And if you don't have, I mean, there's no one watching. Does this qualify for? But like, if you don't feel pride in this Knicks team that espouses, I mean, what qualities in a sports team don't they bring to the forefront? And I think you could argue, Benji, and this is where I'll get you started off. We were sitting there. We watched this whole game together. We were sitting there in the third quarter, and they were down. Hold on. Make sure I get this right. Don't want to misstate it. They got it to it. That's right. They got it to within 62-61. And Philadelphia ran off a 9-0 run. And you want to talk about momentum? And if you want to even go back further, so at that moment, it was 72-61. So there had been, over the course of about 2 quarters in the middle of this game, from the middle of the first quarter until the middle of the third quarter, a 32-point turnaround. Benji, show me the basketball team that on the road against the reigning MVP, who is doing anything he wanted to on the court, and another guy who, by the way, looked like he might win an MVP someday. The last game these two teams played, and oh, by the way, Buddy Hield just hitting every shot that he attempts, and a couple other Sixers chiming in too, face a 32-point turnaround. And they just take it on the chin, and they're like, all right, what else you got? Who does that other than this Knicks team?
It felt like they were on the ropes from the when Embiid checked out. What was it, 4 minutes in the first quarter? He had to go to the locker room for some reason.
You sensed it then. We sensed it. Almost immediately when they started doing stuff. Sorry.
It felt like they were on the ropes through the third quarter. Like, it never felt like they were comfortable in the game. It felt frantic. It felt like Philadelphia was working 75% less hard than the Knicks were to get every bucket. And yet, at the end of the third quarter, it's a tie game.
How?
And
how did they do that?
I honestly don't know. It's just incredible fortitude courage, resilience. They're the kings of attrition. You just cannot defeat these guys. No matter what. I mean, forget about the response from the last game, which in and of itself, and the fans felt it. Nobody wanted to watch this game because Game 5 was just hanging there. And for them to come out, they start the game great. They get punched, not just in the mouth, they got punched through the face. And yet, here they are. And the pride you feel, man. I was with you closeout game of the Cleveland series last year, and very different feeling. That was an emotional of like, we've been waiting for this.
Yeah,
for them to come and stomp on somebody.
This is different.
This is different. This is pride, but there's obviously like overwhelming relief in closing this one out. That is the primary emotion right now for me, certainly, is relief. Absolutely
relief. Relief for so many reasons. Primarily, as we just talked about during the watch along, I did not want Game 5 to haunt me until I am fully gray. Because if they lost this game and they lost Game 7, and you know what? I'll even go a step further. It's what the hell is today? Thursday? Okay. They're getting 3 days off. Would it have been better to get 5 days than 3 days? Sure. Right? But 3 days off, you feel like, okay, that's enough time to reset, right? It's enough time to reset, get your bearings, get a little wind back in you. Like, like they didn't need, it didn't result in a Game 7 at the very least. Oh, Nick Nurse, thank you so much for coming to the party. This series probably could have gone the exact opposite way it did, but it didn't. No, it didn't. Funny enough,
Nick,
how that happens when you're not the tougher team. And you're not the tougher team physically, and you're not the tougher team mentally, and you're not the tougher team in the capital T team sense. Did you have, when healthy, the best player in the series? Again, yeah. Was he healthy? No. I don't know how I would rank the top 3 players in this series, Benji. Honestly, I think it's probably a good conversation topic. I don't know that we need to have it tonight, but like, you look at everything that Brunson did, who, by the way, we've been talking for almost 10 minutes. I haven't said the name of the guy who is now averaging 36 points in the playoffs and has gotten 40 in 3 straight games. Like, and this, I'm going to say the thing that you're not supposed to say. I'm going to say it anyway, and then you could yell at me. Because a lot of people will maybe get upset by this, but I'm just going to say it. Are we sure the Knicks were supposed to win this series? And I don't mean in the sense of basketball unfolding with the Game 2 and all of that nonsense. I'm talking about, I'm 40, 41 in a week, watching. I care about so little in life. Basketball is the one thing I've always cared about. I don't know why. And I study this sport, and I respect the history of this sport so much because it's not undefeated, but it's pretty rock solid, especially when you get into 7-game series. And when you get into a 7-game series where teams come prepared to play. And listen, the Sixers team, I think, came prepared to play. Like they gave a commensurate effort with what you would expect of a team coached by Nick Nurse. I know I just made fun of him, but like, good coach. Brilliant move. The Buddy Hield tonight.
Great coach. He's a great
and some guys that look, we'll rag on Embiid as we should. Embiid came up with some moments in the series. Tyrese Maxey came up with some moments in the series. So I'm going on this little diatribe to say, in NBA history, when you get a team like that, and they got 2, and the team that they're playing has 1, and I love OG Anunoby and Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart. Oh my God. I want to have another son or a son so I could name him Josh Hart. Josh Hart Macri. That'll be his new name.
Nice name.
It has a nice ring to it. Josh Hart Macri. These guys are incredible. And you can't have the Brunson conversation without having the conversation about the team as a whole. That is who they are. They are a capital T team. But again, going back to the point I'm trying to make, NBA history does not favor the capital T team if they have only one guy and the other team has two, because of the pressure it puts on you to specifically Jalen Brunson to come up with offense and everybody else to come up with offense. And we're sitting here and they won the damn series in 6 games. I don't know how to reconcile that myself, Benji. And I'm other than to say that this is just a special group. I don't know what else to say. That's not analysis. That's emotion. But
no, it is. It is analysis. It is analysis. It may be the most important analysis, because you could pick away at any subject matter, any key to the series you want to. Nick Nurse said it before the game.
Yeah.
No matter what happened in this series, the Sixers could win the rebounding battle, the Knicks could win the rebounding battle, Embiid could go off, Embiid could struggle, Brunson can go off, Brunson could struggle. There was no rhyme or reason to anything. At the end of the day, it was the last 5 minutes who can make the most plays. Every single one of these games. And it goes beyond X's and O's at some point. I mean, I'm sure I will talk about a lot of the X's and O's this series. It was a fascinating schematic series for a lot of reasons. This game was a fascinating schematic game for a lot of reasons. But this is and I love that you said this, that we just assume the Knicks should be favored in this series as if it was a given. Hello, this Sixers team is elite, and even Embiid at the level he was playing, which was still a pretty high level, if not full throttle Embiid.
Tonight he was pretty full throttle.
First, I think he had 2 points in the fourth quarter, but yes, he was. That
might be a different Joel Embiid issue other than his
that's correct
health, because that's been around for a while.
But this team there is something to the group. There is something incredible. And I'm still not sure we appreciate enough the unlikelihood and the miracle that is having 3 guys together who I think combined sat 4 minutes in this game, by the way.
Dante DiVincenzo did not sit. Dante DiVincenzo played 48 minutes. Josh Hart played 46 minutes. Jalen Brunson played 44 minutes. OG Anunoby played 45 minutes.
There you go. So they have this unique chemistry and belief in each other that I absolutely believe. And as you know, I am as X's and O's as they come.
But you also play, and you've been part of locker rooms.
This chemistry exceeds X's and O's. It is how many plays. I could point you to plays where Brunson and DiVincenzo, it's just a nod or a wink, or not even. It's just knowing each other. 2 backdoors, one on a baseline drive, DiVincenzo backdoors Maxey. One on an inbounds play where DiVincenzo's supposed to go weak side corner, and he just comes right around Maxey for a layup. And that's not Josh Hart and transit. These guys know where they're good. It exceeds X's and O's. There is just an understanding and a belief in each other that transcends normal basketball logic. And the idea that they were supposed to win the series, or should have won the series, or should have won in 5 or 6 or whatever you think, is nonsense when you look at the rosters and the pressure points that each team could put on you. And it transcends basketball logic. That is this team. It's amazing.
You want to talk about transcending basketball logic, and you want to talk about a special bond. On how many other teams is a guy like Josh Hart taking that shot? Because he knows, look, these guys with their shared history, it goes beyond trust with them. It goes beyond the mind meld with them. Josh Hart is taking that shot. There's no part of him that's thinking what happens if I miss? It's not Brunson taking the shot. It's not DiVincenzo taking the shot. I'm going to take this shot. To say nothing about that, Josh Hart has the chutzpah to take the shot and make the shot, and then from the defying basketball logic, how often have we had the conversation about the impact that Josh Hart being on the court has on the Knicks spacing and Brunson's room to work? We've had this conversation. We've had this conversation up and down. It'll always be there whenever he's on the court. And yet you sign up for it 7 days a week and twice on Sunday because the guy just gives you, hey, I'll give you one guess. Who was the leading rebounder in this basketball game? Josh Hart with 14 rebounds, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the offensive glass. What are we doing here? 6'4" guard.
Let me take it a step. Let me take it a step further though, because how did the Knicks season?
7 assists.
He was amazing in the second half. Let me take it a step further. How did last season end? The play that ended the Knicks season was Jalen Brunson driving, Josh Hart one pass away, wide open top of the key. Jalen Brunson doesn't want to throw that pass. No. And he throws it to a cutting Julius Randle, wasn't open, and the season ends in game 6 against Miami. And tonight, Jalen Brunson driving, defense collapses, Josh Hart, top of the key,
wide open.
Jalen Brunson throws the goddamn pass. He throws the goddamn pass. And is that not poetic justice and just the most beautiful thing? And Jalen has said, I want to learn from that moment. He has taken responsibility and said, I am going to make the pass next time. And God damn it, he made the pass. It's just it's storybook stuff.
Jalen Brunson, I'm just going to read the stat line. 41 points, 12 assists, 2 turnovers. One of them came at a not opportune time. Just say that. But 41 points, 12 assists, 2 turnovers, 13 of 27 overall, 3 of 8 from 3 after I believe he started 1 of 6 from 3. And those 2 threes, we'll talk about the Hart shot. We'll talk about the free throws late. We'll talk about the Hart offensive rebound. We'll talk about the OG dunk. We'll talk about the DiVincenzo drive. We'll talk about all those things.
So many moments.
The Brunson threes to give them the cushion at the top in the middle of the fourth quarter, right when he checked back in the game, set the tone. They do not finish that game like that if he does not come out and make both of those shots. He's the mayor of New York. There's going to be a lot of waxing poetic about Jalen Brunson tonight, which is the only reason I'm not like brushing him off right now. And Josh Hart, obviously Josh Hart, we're going to wax poetic about Josh Hart. I don't know where I just have to mention before I forget, Deuce Pride, not his best game, -17 in 9 minutes. Not what you want. His one contribution, that was big. In the moment, it was big. The one
when nothing was going, Brunson off the floor, they had no offense to speak of.
Nada.
He gets Embiid in a pick and roll, and he's in drop, and the man just pulls, because one thing that you can say about Deuce McBride is he is a confident young man, and he is not scared. And he was going to shoot it, and he is. What a huge, massive shot that was to stem the tide and give you. I think when Brunson re-entered, they were
tied. It was a tie. It was a tie game.
They were tied.
Hold on. Maybe they were down. Hold on.
As you're looking, I'll just say, like that shot was as big as any shot in the game. It was as big as any shot.
Deuce's 3 put him up 95-93. Then Embiid got 2, and then it was tie game. Then Brunson came back in. Massive shot. OG Anunoby, an interesting game. A lot of good, some not so good. And Isaiah Hartenstein, big buckets with the floaters. Mitchell Robinson, another one, interesting game. Did some good things, did some not good things. The guy that I don't want to get lost in any shuffle, and I want to throw the baton to you because you called it all day. You were saying all day, we need him. We need this guy. We need him to come up with the sort of game that he has come up with time and time and time again. I know a lot of them came early when they built the big lead that they then completely pissed away. DiVincenzo was massive the entire game.
Man, and I thought I just thought he was going to have a game because he's too good and he's shown too much to hold down for this long. I think the Sixers have been super keyed in on him. They found a couple of gaps in transition, in switch pockets that they just haven't found him for, and he was able to make some threes. But and the drive on Embiid late, what a move that was! Backdoor cuts, 2 of them to get huge buckets in the second half. But I don't want to gloss over what he did on the defensive end, because again, I thought he should have been guarding Maxey from the top of the series. This is the first they made the change second half in game 5. He started the game on Maxey in game 6. Maxey has by far his worst game of the series. There's a lot to that. It's not just DiVincenzo, but what DiVincenzo did to keep him off of his right hand, to force him into help, to not give him the easy step backs, to stay attached off of off-ball screens, was absolutely massive in this game. And you held a guy who probably came in with all the confidence in the absolute world, and you held him down. I don't even know what the final numbers were. I'm not looking right now, but they are not good from Tyrese Maxey tonight.
I got him right now. And as you're saying all that, all I'm thinking of is what DiVincenzo did defensively in this game would have been enough if that was all he had to concentrate on, and he did not need to worry about the offensive end of the court. And here's DiVincenzo's offensive numbers: 23 points, 7 assists, 23 points, 8 of 18 final stat line, which is not great, but 5 of 9 from 3. That's what you needed. 4 rebounds, 2 on the offensive glass. And how about 3 blocks from Dante DiVincenzo? As for Maxey's stat line, 17 points, 6 of 18 from the field, 1 of 6 from deep.
Yeah, like he missed a couple open threes, but overall, I thought, look, the strategy was right, and it's the strategy I thought they should have, like, forced him left. Now you have OG and help. We saw OG impact a lot of his shots at the rim. When he's going left especially, Maxey is not a great finisher. He's a great finisher going to his right. To his left, you can hold him, and you get enough help at the rim, and you now had OG on the back line, and you have Dante rear view contesting. That's how you control him, and they finally did it tonight. And overall, just an immaculate performance. Like, yeah, he's not great inside the arc. He's dealing with Embiid and a drop. It's hard for him to score 2s, but he needed to make 3s, made a couple of huge plays down the stretch, and defensively was fantastic. It's the game that we were looking for. It's the game I thought he'd have. It was a huge performance from the Big Ragu.
Couple more things, and then we're gonna start. We'll do our segments, and I'm gonna let Benji go to sleep because it's after midnight. Apparently, we're
prepping for Indy. We're prepping for Indy. What are you talking about? Let's go.
You're gonna be up tonight watching tape.
Let's do it. The team needs my film study. They're all there.
Do you think Tibbs right now is itching to just?
Oh yeah. Oh, they'll watch tonight. His video guys will for sure watch tonight.
Well,
and I imagine he might watch some of the indie games.
This courtesy of our esteemed colleague DJ Zulo. So 3 quick things. 1, Jalen Brunson's second half tonight. This is a fake number, but apparently it's not a fake number. A 41% usage rate. 25 points, 9 assists, which, by the way, assists are not counted in usage rate. So he was, which it's not always.
Is that right?
Yeah, assists is a usage rate is just shots and turnovers, and yeah. Why do you think Jokic's usage rate is always so low?
I'll take your word. Okay.
Yeah. No. Oh wow! I taught Benji something about his stat. I feel so proud of myself. It is sad that you learn from for you to learn anything about basketball.
No. It's sad that I didn't know that. It's not.
No. It's sad that I had to teach you. 25 points, 9 assists, 3 of 4 from deep, 41% usage, plus 10. That's 1. 2. This is from Tommy Beer, who does a great job on Twitter. Total points scored in this series. Thanks, Kevin, who's on the 1s and 2s, for putting us in the chat. Knicks 650 points, 76ers 649 points, and then. I mean,
it's one of the great first round series ever.
Well,
right? It is. It just is.
Before I get to the next thing, let's stick on that for a second. Like, I know you watch as much basketball as I do, or at least try to. Like, How many teams in these playoffs are you saying stone cold have been better than the Sixers? Nuggets, okay. Wolves, okay. Thunder, okay. So the top 3 seeds in the West. Celtics, they had the one hiccup, but they've 2. Okay, that's 4 teams. And the Knicks. Is there another team that you're saying has been better than the Sixers in these playoffs, other than the 5 teams I just named?
No.
Arguably, they've been the 6th best team in the playoffs. And that feels kind of right? Because even if Embiid looked like this all year, looked like how he did in this series, you figure this Sixers team would have figured out a way to win 50-plus games.
Yeah, totally.
At the very least. Even if Embiid plays 65 games, that's the team that the Knicks just beat in 6 games. So I wanted to point that out. And then the other thing, this is Tibbs was asked if Josh Hart was close to being subbed out tonight. Josh is never close to coming out. It was a passing thought. I let it pass. He's laughing. I'm not gonna play the clip, but he's laughing. Oh my God, Benji, I love this team.
That's such an. That is epic. That is epic. And a line I will use now when my wife says, like, "Hey man, like, do you remember to take out?" No, it was a passing thought. I let it pass. That's amazing.
I have to retweet that. I had the thought earlier today. This is the last thing, and then we'll move on to the segments, because I know we're going to have a lot of people excited and a lot of people in the Super Chats tonight. I had passing thought actually this evening, a couple hours before the game started, that, oh shoot, if they lose tonight, there's a chance that we only might get one more Knick game this season. That's a chance. Again, I would have believed that they could win a game 7. I would have rooted like hell for a game 7, but it's game 7. Anything can happen, And I had that thought earlier today, and there is a part of me when it gets to this time of year, because it's we put in a lot of work here at Knicks Film School. We put in a lot of hours. Where in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, well, I'll just admit, and I think I said as much last year. By the end of last season, I was so spent. And I was like, all right, you know what? Probably not winning the championship for this year anyway. It was great season. Made it to the second round. The whole thing. Take a bow. All right, I need a friggin' breather, to say nothing of how the team must have felt last year. I had the thought earlier today, and I'm like, I'm not ready to be done with this team yet. They've meant so much to so many of us. And they are, I think, for a lot of people, and I could say this for myself, I think this is the most special Knicks team I've ever rooted for. And it's because of what happened in the second half tonight. It's a special group of guys. I don't have anything else to say about them. There's a special group of guys.
Amen. I got nothing to add to that. Beautifully said.
All right. On that note, you're going to stick around for the segments, or you want to get out of here now? It's up to you.
Stick around for the freaking segments. Let's go.
Stick around for the segments. Why not? All right. We are starting off, as we always do, or as we've done for like a week, the player of the game presented by Autograph. Don't forget, download the Autograph app, use code KFS, and get rewarded for your Knicks fandom. We've been talking about the Autograph app for a while. They gave away, I believe, like $24 tickets to the game tonight to some lucky fan who slid into our DMs earlier today. So that's awesome. Their Autograph is really cool, and everybody should go download the app. The Autograph player of the game, we could agree on one if you'd like. I mean, can we give it to the guy who just had his 3rd straight 40-point game?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to miss one thing, because there's one play that I really want to focus on that I didn't get a chance to. So excuse me, I'm going to butt into the segment with one last comment.
Please.
Things were not looking great in the 3rd quarter. I said the Knicks felt like they were on the ropes the entire 3rd quarter, and yet they somehow found a way. And I thought one of the plays that really might have swung the whole quarter game. Such a simple thing. But Embiid was so damn comfortable in that quarter. I think he had 16 in the 3rd quarter, but a lot of early, he was just dominating the game. got Isaiah Hartenstein out with another foul. Mitch comes in, and Mitch spends an entire possession fronting him. I don't know if the call came from the bench, and I don't know if he decided to do it on his own. Fronts him the whole possession until Embiid hooks him with his arm and gets an offensive foul call. It was the first time Embiid looked uncomfortable since early first quarter, and I absolutely thought it totally changed the momentum of the game. And sometimes just a little effort play like that can swing everything. So I didn't want to go through this whole thing without shouting him out. I thought that was a massive basketball play, and it had nothing to do with the basketball. It just had to do with fighting a guy who was too comfortable and forcing him to commit a mistake.
And they were able to tie this game up in part because of that moment by the end of the third quarter. And I thought there was some real important symbolism in them being able to tie it up going into the fourth. I thought that meant a lot. Listen, if you want, I mean, there's like 24 candidates for play of the game. Obviously, the Josh Hart 3 is a play that will get is a shot that will get replayed for decades. I mean, that is now. I mean, it's up there with the Houston. I mean, who's right? It's up there with the Houston shot. It's up there with the LJ 4-point play. It's up there with the Ewing putback to send him to the finals. I mean,
and he's starting to develop a highlight reel of these, man. He's got the Cleveland one on tap already. So this is number 2. Pretty remarkable.
Josh Hart's talk about a guy who was born to be a Knick. So player of the game, Jalen Brunson with a tip of the cap to Mitchell Robinson. Again, presented by Autograph. Go download the Autograph app and use code KFS. You'll be happy you did. Okay. Next up, I forget what's next up. The Road to Recovery presented by Unified Healing. Man,
they should do a field trip. They should do a team field trip to Unified Healing.
We're going to be doing it, actually. Me and Andrew are going to be going to Unified Healing to visit them. Stay tuned for footage of that.
Damn. Good for you.
Go to Unified Healing, UNIFYD healing.com to learn more and find a center near you. I'm going to go visit a Unified Healing Center tomorrow when I inevitably pass out from exhaustion because I'm not sleeping tonight. So our Road to Recovery presented by Unified. We are gonna just no new injuries, I guess, because Bogey's out for the year. Julius Randle out for the year. These are just things that happen, and apparently they don't matter. And we're just gonna deal with them. I do want to point out Josh Hart prior to hitting that game, the most important shot of the series. And several other big moments down the. I mean, his offensive rebound, my lord, his offensive rebound that came before the OG dunk, as big an offensive rebound as there was in this game. So that there's that too. He was limping around. It looked like he was going to come out of the game.
And then he makes a huge fast break finish where he looks springy over Embiid, and then he makes the biggest shot of the season.
Incredible. So yeah, shout out to Josh Hart. That is your unifiedhealing.com. And
I guess Mitch was theoretically questionable in this game.
Oh yeah.
But he played.
Would like to see Mitch look a little bit more like Mitch in the next series.
Yep.
Like to see that.
Able to finish some of these offensive rebounds and just go up and dunk. He really hasn't been able to do that at all. I don't know if that's a health thing or he doesn't want to get fouled thing or some combination of both, but would like to see him just finish some of these offensive boards next series, especially against the Pacers, who don't necessarily have the bodies to deal with that.
This is going to be a fascinating series. Yeah. Okay. And then last but not least, this will be a bit of an entree into the next series. Aren't we doing the I think we're doing the out of town scoreboard presented by T Squared Social. There it is. By the way, shout out to everybody who was at the watch party tonight at T Squared Social. I know Andrew was there. If you go to T Squared Social, which is located, of course, on 42nd Street, just down the block from Grand Central Station, you will get a free draft beer when you tell them that Knicks Film School sent you. Visit T Squared Social. That is tsquaredsocial.com to learn more about club memberships, trivia nights, sports leagues, and much more. What are we doing here? The out-of-town scoreboard. So the Milwaukee Bucks had Dame tonight. They did not have Giannis. They kept it respectable for a little bit, maybe quarter and a half, and then Pacers kind of started to take over that game, and then off they went. And this was a blowout by the end. The Pacers should be incredibly proud of the season that they've had. Obviously, I hope their season is going to end in short order, but I don't know. I mean, we're not going to get into full X's and O's of the next series right now, but like, give me one thought that you have on the matchup or on the Pacers in general. And by the way, shout out to Obi Toppin, had the best game of his playoff career.
Yeah, it was great.
What did he finish with? 21? Yeah, 21 points. 8 of 15 overall, 3 of 10 from 3.
One thought. I think the Knicks will be able to score in this series. I think it's going to be the first thought that comes to mind is, how do you deal with the Miles Turner situation? Is it kind of like a let him shoot thing? I think they got really good experience here with Embiid in terms of their coverages and pick and pops. And I think that's a really good thing because they've tried a bunch of different things. They have tools in the toolbox to go to.
Can I had to ask a question. Yeah. It felt like Embiid that they were, in terms of Embiid's threes, they were trying to have their cake and eat it too, in terms of like not giving him open looks, but also you're not compromising everything else you do. Is that what you meant when you said good practice for the next series?
Well, I think they did a few different things on Embiid. I mean, tonight it was they actually brought the third guy over at times from the weak side to cover the pop, and that exposed the weak side. The Sixers made some, missed some. With the Pacers, they're such a good shooting team. That's a dangerous game to play at the wing with Nesmith and Obi and whoever else is in there. But I think that the difference with Halliburton versus Maxey is you can feel more confident in switching on both sides of that, because Halliburton hasn't looked the same attacking switches second half of the year. I don't think he looked great even tonight.
That's what the Pacers did all series, or excuse me, the Bucks did all series, right?
So you can probably live with switches. You can live with, and then Turner is obviously not going to punish mismatches the same way that Joel Embiid is. So it's a little less dangerous in that sense. In that two-man game, of course, Halliburton lords over the game in a lot of different ways, and it's the pick and roll attack, and it's how you guard it, and how aggressive are you in help, and how switchable are you, and all those are going to be questions. I think the Knicks will show him a lot of different coverages, but I really do believe that this series was a tremendous learning experience, covering a heavy pick and roll team that the Knicks can bring over to the Pacers series. So that should be interesting, and a 5-out team similarly, right? So I think it'll be. I like that for the Knicks. I like the element of having this series already under your belt heading into this one.
So the only thing that's tough, they're just so short on bodies. And you wonder if against a team that I would imagine Rick Carlisle is going to be like, oh, you thought we ran all season? Get ready to really strap on the track shoes. They're gonna put pressure on the Knicks in that way. And they're shorthanded and the whole thing. And like, you want to talk, I mean, Tom Thibodeau, fight through the pain. Okay. Well, this is going to be something. And
the Pacers they showed it tonight, man. Their bench won this game. They have real depth. They're one of the few McConnell and Obi and Nembhard and the whole squad there. They have real depth. So yes, it'll test the Knicks' resolve. It'll test their stamina. Now, again, I don't put it past the Knicks anymore. They're not going to run out of steam. They don't seem to run out of steam. They seem to refuse to run out of steam.
That's because they're the Terminator. That's right. That's just like you could crash an oil tanker or whatever into them, and they're just going to emerge from the flames, ready to continue the battle. I just did the quick math. If my math is correct, which I think it is, Halliburton from 3 in this series, 16 of 54. So it's going to be a little bit less than making a third. So it's probably around 30-31%. Something
it's just not, that step back is not the same for whatever reason. Is it health? Is it loss? It's just not the same thread as it was. And that is a huge deal because, again, the risk of switching on Hallie was that step back more than anything else. And when you overplay the step back, and now he gets into the paint. Yeah. Well, if you don't have to overplay the step back and you're okay with just contesting it, that changes the calculus of your whole coverage. So he's going to have to prove it.
Last question on this, and then I'm going to let you go. OG, what How do you deploy him in the series? Simple as like straight up on Siakam, or?
Great question. You could do a couple different things. You could put him on Halliburton, and I think he will get time on Halliburton. In the series.
Halliburton, okay.
I do think he will get time on Halliburton in the series. Because again, unlike Maxey, who I don't think he should have guarded in the series, and the Knicks pivoted off it after 2 games, not the quickest dude in the world. And he's not OG will be able to stay on his hip, whereas Maxey was able to
swallow him
separate.
up like, at times.
I think he can swallow him up. And if you're switchable anyway, like whatever. So I think, but because they've added Siakam now, that does seem like the most natural matchup. Because I don't think you want Josh Hart on Siakam. So I think Anunoby kind of has to start there. Now, the only wrinkle I would say, and teams have done this, and I believe the Bucks started this way and then ended up off of it. But you can stick Hartenstein on
Siakam, and then Hart on Turner.
Hart on Turner, Anunoby on Turner. Because Turner's not really the type of guy that's going to necessarily punish you in the post or on the offensive glass. He could do it. He's capable. And if he starts hurting you that way, then maybe you pivot off. But it's definitely it is a viable strategy for the Knicks to try. So similar series where like OG can be weaponized in a bunch of different ways. I think you'll probably see a little bit of all of it,
I love it. I can't wait to talk to you more about it when you get to a chance to really think through it more. I know you have not really let yourself do that yet. Benji, I feel honored. I feel honored that I get to work with you because you're just the best basketball mind that I know. And I hope that there is a time and place at some point when the rest of people who watch basketball, and specifically the NBA in this country, get to find out just how special of a basketball mind you are and how good. Don't laugh. Because you're that good. And I felt really privileged to be able to watch tonight with you. And thanks for joining us for a bit of time here.
My pleasure. Thanks. That's kind words. Appreciate it. It was very fun to go through this experience with you. That was a wild time. Second straight clinching game 1 we went through together. So first round series we went through together. So that was an honor for me as well, John. Enjoy the rest of your night. I imagine it will be a long one. Have fun.
All right. Next up. Or am I getting company? Oh my goodness.
Knicks in 6, bitches! What up, John? Shout out. I got several shout outs to give, none of which reside. Okay, no, shout out first responders. That's what I'll give. Thank you for your service. Enjoy working on Joel Embiid's body. Shout out to Mark Cuban. You have changed the Knicks franchise with your stupidity forever. Shout out to Josh Hart's shooting coach. You're a miracle worker. Shout out to Jay Wright, the University of Villanova. I didn't go there, but guess what? It's now my favorite university. Shout out to the Creative Arts Agency. Shout out to sports in general.
Really? Shout out CAA.
Shout out to T-Squared Social. That was the most insane night of my life. Shout out Chris Persianen. It was his birthday yesterday, and I thought it was today. So shout out Chris. Go wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chris. Is he 21? Was he already 21?
He was already 21. He's 22.
Oh, he's 22.
Shout out to you and Tom Thibodeau. We took the entire fourth quarter by your lead. We did not celebrate once until 3-0 were on the clock. But shout out to the New York Knickerbockers. You have won the hearts of this city forever. Because we ain't never here. No damn bell here in the Big Apple. And as far as I'm concerned, as I switch some music up, it's always cloudy in Philadelphia, as far as I'm concerned. The gang loses in 6. The gang loses with Joel Embiid again.